begins in a warning voice, but I shrug him off. You know I'm right. I turn to the others. We don't have time to wait anymore. We have to tell everyone the truth, and we have to do it now. Zara looks doubtful. My father and the Ominira are on their way, but I don't know how long it will take them to get here. If we go in there now, we'll be entirely alone. My friend will help. I told Chigozie and a few others who I knew believe me, they will back us up. Silence filled the rooms as we look at each other. It is still not enough though, and we all know it. But this could be our only chance to stop Dr. Doyinbo before it is too late. You only get one chance to convince everyone, Nii says. Me. But they barely know me. I open my mouth to remind him of this fact, but the determined look on Nii's face stops me. This is your idea, it declares. You should lead it. My eyes scan the faces of the people surrounding me. And Adana give me a smile of encouragement, and Azan is practically grinning. There's a worried look on my dad's face, but there's also a fierce pride there too. Zara's face is its usual blank marks, but her clenched fist glows orange flame. We have some unfinished business. I step forward to face her. I'm sorry that my mistake led Dr. Doyinbo pan, and that I put your family there. My voice is steady, and so is my gaze as I hold us. I've made a lot of stupid decisions lately, but that's over now. I hold out a tentative hand. We work as a team or not at all. So will you help me make this right? Zara's eyes flick to my hand, then back to my face, and I hold my breath, unsure what is going to decide. Her red eyes drill into mine like laser beams, searching for something. I don't flinch, hoping she can see how sincere I am. After a moment, she blinks, then holds out her fiery fist, a clear challenge blazing at me. I don't hesitate. I wince, quickly clenching my hand to give her a slow fist bump. I wince at the contact, knowing I totally deserve the pain. A grudging smile breaks out on Sarah's face as I pass her test. I take another look at my friends and family surrounding me. Now we are ready. Let's do this. We crossed the distance between Dr. Doyinbo's office and the maid all in silence. My father and I lead the way with Cheney at the rear, accompanied by Ores. She's under strict instruction to stay put. I tried leaving her in the secret room, but she was having none of it. It was easier just to bring her along. I have never felt so scared in my life. What we are planning to do is actually kind of crazy. What if I fail? What if the solar won't listen to us and Dr. Doyinbo wins? The current tendrils of this negative thought try to latch onto my fear, but I refuse to let them. I'm surrounded by my family and friends. A warm hand closes around mine, and I look up at my dad. He squeezes my hand, but says nothing. The hallway are totally deserted, and as we approach the big metal doors of the main hall, it becomes clear that Dr. Doyinbo is not taking any risk. 5 guards are stationed outside the entrance. And when they sort of us, leave, my father's command is so soft. I'm probably the only one who heard him. Yet, the soldiers freeze like startled deer. Then, without saying a word, they leave their position and file past us like zombies. I give Papa an impressed look. We have the element of surprise. He said when we reach the door, it should buy you a few minutes. So, use it wisely. I nod and step forward, but the doors don't open automatically the way they are supposed to. I turn to Adana. Her eyes glaze over and the door slide open, revealing a huge room full of people. Yellow light pours in through massive tinted solar glass window on either side, and it bounces off the stark white walls that slope into an articulated ceiling covered in metal beams. There are banners everywhere, and beneath them, Dr. Doyinbo soldiers line the room, watching over row after row of seated solar. They are grouped in their color-coded houses all the way to the front of the room, where Dr. Doyinbo stands on the stage behind the podium, dressed in his formal robes. Every eye in the room swings toward us, and whisper conversations breaks out. I swallowed, and my hands begin to tremble. All of the students are wearing second sight, and there is a mixture of shock and confusion on the faces, starting staring back at him. Dr. Doyinbo does not look surprised, though. He looks worried. Good. Stop them. Converge on us. But Inchebe is already moving. Zara right beside him. Go. Niyi calls to a buzz of solid ice already forming in his hand. We will take care of them. Azan nodded his agreement before running invisible so that I lose sight of him. The room erupted then as my friend walked to keep me safe. One of Zara's fireball whizzed past, and I forced my left to keep moving. Papa keeps pace with me, and I'm grateful for his presence. Though, just like Auntie Naomi, he won't be able to use Ike again for a while. We pass some of the seated solari, and one of the soldiers gets too close. Before I can react, he goes sprawling to the ground. I look up to find Chigozie, her legs sticking out from her position at the end of the row. She gives me a smile before standing and joining the action. She's not the only one. Other solari from the academy join the fight. They must be the rest of Ore's friends. The majority stay seated, though, watching the action in confusion. I keep my gaze on Dr. Doyinbo's face as we get closer and see the expression of alarm growing. Busy enjoying that, I almost miss the arm that comes out of nowhere. I duck just in time, spinning to face Annie and the sneer across her face. I frown. I really don't need this right now. Before I can do anything, Adana is beside me. I've got this. I don't argue, sidestepping them both as they begin. Each step up to the stage feels like some small mountain, and I climb slowly. Then Papa moves in front of me, stretched out to his full height and looking all sort of impressive. Dr. Doyinbo must be spooked because he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a thin laser knife. The red hot blade flashed on Doyinbo lunges forward, but Papa easily sidesteps him and knocks the knife out of his hand. Without the soldier to protect him, Dr. Doyinbo scuttled away from the podium like a scared rabbit. He does not get far as Papa quickly restrains him. Then I take Dr. Doyinbo's place to face my fellow solari. The remaining guards have already been subdued by my friends, and a sea of childish faces stare back at me expectantly. Some of them wear curious expressions, and others are so full of anger and mistrust that I want to run off the stage, but I can't. I won't. My name is Onyeka. I begin, but my throat feels dry and my voice cracks. I take a deep breath and try again. You have been told that my friends and I are traitors and that you have turned rogue. But Dr. Doyinbo has been lying to all of you about us, about the council, even about the sickness we suffer from whenever we use Ike. He is, in fact, solari. There is a collective gasp of surprise at this final revelation. Are you really going to listen to them? Dr. Doyinbo burst out. They are traitors. They have betrayed you, and they have betrayed their country. They even brought a rogue spy in here to attack you. A low sound of murmur whisper spread through the room as hostile and suspicious eyes turned to examine Zara. We have been taught to fear and hate Omnia for too long. Niyi and Azan tightening protectively around her, but she's not bothered. Her eyes, her red eyes blaze black. A challenge no one has the guts to answer. That is not true. Zara is our friend, I say quickly. They are not rogues, and they help us after Dr. Doyinbo betrayed us. Omnia are not trying to destroy us. They have been trying to tell us the truth. Dr. Doyinbo hasn't betrayed us to protect Nigeria. He wants to use us as his own personal army so he can take over the country. Dr. Doyinbo struggled helplessly in my father's arm. You know me. Does that sound like something I would do? Shut up. My father grows, tightening his hold. But it makes no difference. I can see from their faces that the soldiers don't believe me. Just as I feared, this kid barely know me and have no reason to trust anything I have to say. Niyi, you have done this. My eyes find him in the crowd. Help me, I plead silently. We can prove Dr. Doyinbo has been lying. Niyi says loudly. Use your thermal scanners and see for yourself who it truly is. Of course, it's temperature than a regular woman's. And the thermal scanner in second sight can pick it up. It doesn't take long before the shout and gasp begins. I know exactly what they are saying. Dr. Doyinbo lit up like a purple glow stick at second sight reveals his true nature. I search the faces of the solary again and find a new uncertainty. If Dr. Doyinbo has lied about this, he could lie about anything. Any shakes free of Adana's oath and presses a hand to her chest. What is going on? Her voice cracks on the last word. Suddenly, Dr. Doyinbo breaks out of my father's arm and runs to the front of the stage. His hand lifted in a battle call. Who do you serve? He screams. It is the desperate sound of a man with nothing to lose. I close, dreading the response. Nigeria, comes the answering cry. Then my eyes fly open again. It was not as loud as I expected, or as loud as it could be. The solary are starting to believe us. And I see the exact moment Dr. Doyinbo realizes this too. Defend your country. He roused, spittle flying from his mouth. No, I cry, but it is too late. Solary are already moving, and I can almost taste the power in the air as Ike ignites. Fighting breaks out again as some of these academic solary face off against my friend. Fider, a GSS1 student from House Answer, grow to a massive size, but I can't tell which side she's on as she dives forward, a huge fist flying. Muhammad, one of the littles from the primary years, teleports out of the way of an upcoming energy blast. He reappears on the other side of the room and rams over wheelchair into one of Folakunle's dupes. My jaw drops as any of all people wraps a stretchy body around another of his dupes. I guess she's starting to believe us. Suddenly, a solary lunged straight at me from my left. Tosin, he is the boy from my dreams. But before he can make contact, Ore crashes into him in midair, pushing Tosin away from me. They struggle on the ground before rolling out of view. Other bodies clash against one another as solary fight a war they don't even understand. I feel sick as I watch the chaos erupting around me. This was not supposed to happen, but I don't know how to stop it. Dr. Doyinbo turned to me, a horrible look of satisfaction stamped across his face. You cannot beat me. He commanded a GSS1 student with a supersonic voice, jumps on stage. He opened his mouth and roused at me. I pressed my hand to my ears, trying to block it out. But the sound is like a solid wave, and it hits me hard, pushing me to the ground. I can barely think or move beyond the pain. The Amadi stops, eyeing me grimly. Onyeka, yes, Papa. I try to answer him, but Amadi bellows again, the power of it pinning me in place. My voice is lost under the my voice is lost under the force of Amadi's, and I stare at Papa helplessly. But the sound failed to reach me. Hold on, I'm coming. Before I can respond, a long brown hand reaches out from somewhere behind Amadi. His eyes widen as it gives him a wave before stretching impossibly toward him. In the flash, the hand is wrapped around his face, covering his mouth. The wall of sound cut off immediately, and the force holding me in place fades away. Then the rest of Annie's body stretched forward to meet her arm of energy hitter, knocking both her and Amadi off the stage. Papa reaches me, an anxious look on his face. Are you okay? I nod as he helps me to my feet. But where is Dr. Doyinbo? I spot him trying to make a run for it. His body is crouched low as he weaves his way between the distracted body. I reach for Ike and it responds as my hair swings out and wraps around his leg. Dr. Doyinbo yaps as I lift him up, ready to peel him back into the stage. But then Doyinbo's arms lashes out and something orange flashes before he drops back to the ground in a tumbling heap. A shower of dark strand follow him and my hair retracts. There is a strange tickling in my scalp, and I look back over to Dr. Doyinbo. He is standing now, and I see the laser knife in his right hand and a vicious smile on his face. It takes me a second to realize what he's done. He cut my hair. Fresh rage fills me that he would yap out again, quickly knocking the knife away. This is another reminder of all the pain Dr. Doyinbo has caused, and I feel the need for revenge fighting to take over. For a moment, I think it will win, and that I won't be able to stop the hurt and anger. But then I push it aside. This is not about me, and I can't afford to lose focus. I pull back my strand, ignoring the damage. Suddenly, a booming sound thundered through the hall, followed by a massive gust of wind that sent me and everyone else in the room staggering. What was that? We all turned as one, following the powerful sound to the back of the hall, only to find Ogagbenga flanked by Uche and dozens of the Omnia behind them. The fighting stops at once. We have never had so many strangers in AOS before, and no one knows who they are or what they do. I do, though, and my heart lifts. The Omnia are our chance to end this. Before I can speak, Uche raises his hand wide and claps them together hard. The booming sound comes again, followed by another surge of energy that sent me to my knees, and many others flying. So this is his Ike. Enough, thunders or Gagbenga. Then he and the Omnia swept into the room. Sweep into the room, and Zara joins her father, taking her place by his side. Their presence is electrifying, and I can almost feel the restless energy that follows them. Dr. Doyinbo glares at Ogagbenga as he and Zara reach him near the front of the stage. Ogagbenga steps close to Dr. Doyinbo, getting right into his personal space. I am back, he declares in a harsh voice, and your time is up. Chapter 28. I knew you would return one day, Gbenga, Dr. Doyinbo says in a short voice. Ogagbenga stepped back with a frown. I'm not here for a reunion. I contacted the councils and sent them all of Benjamin's research. They will be here soon to arrest you. Dr. Doyinbo merely smirks. They can try, but my salary will not allow it. Ogagbenga's head tilts as he considers his foe. You already let them defend you. Let them risk their life for your worthless one. Everything I've done in the past has been working towards this very moment. Dr. Doyinbo says without remorse, this will be my final gift to you all. Ogagbenga sucks in the ash breath. You are not sorry for any of it, are you? If I could not sense it, your pride and satisfaction is written over all your face. Dr. Doyinbo laughs. My plan is almost complete. I've won. You have won nothing. My daddy grows. Ogagbenga shakes his head, a disbelieving look on his face. Even now, staring defeat in the face, you can't admit you are wrong and that you made a mistake. Why would I apologize for protecting this nation? Dr. Odoyinbo sneers. Does a lion seek permission to protect his pride? You think you have stopped me. But what about them? He spread his hand toward the solar gathered below us. I made them what they are. They are mine. And they are unstoppable. Eyes scanned the room, taking everything in. I know what he's saying. A room full of confused kids. Some of them look like they want to tear Dr. Doyinbo apart. But the rest will clearly still follow him. We are torn and hurt that we no longer know what to believe and who to trust. I have no idea how to fix it, but I have to believe that we can undo the damage Dr. Doyinbo has done to us. You are right, Oga Bengas finally said, and a look of anguish flashes across his face. He closed his eyes before turning away. The academy must be destroyed, he declares. He points to Dr. Doyinbo. It is the only way to ensure that your terrible legacy ends. My gaze swings to Zara as horror races through me. Oga Benga wants to destroy the Academy of the Sun. That was never part of the plan. She stared back at me, an equally confused expression on her face. But Oga Benga is not finished yet. You must protect this nation. I don't like the look in his eyes as he stares at the solar gathered in the hall. And I see now that Dr. Doyinbo's solar cannot be allowed to roam free unchecked. He turned to Zara up until I decide what to do with them. Sarah straightened instinctively, but her expression is hard. No, there is a deafening silence as Oga Benga freezes. Zara's voice was a fierce whisper, but the difference in it is unmistakable. Have you forgotten which side you are on, daughter? Oga Benga questioned through gritted teeth. Zara spread her hands out in front of her. This is wrong. The solar should not have to pay for Dr. Doyinbo's crime. Oga Benga shakes his head. I'm not trying to make them pay. I'm trying to protect this country. Careful, Benga. My father says quietly, you are beginning to sound like Dr. Doyinbo's. Oga Benga runs up my father, his eyes flashing. What do you suggest we do? Just a moment ago, Solari were fighting one another. Do you want to undo the world? We can't stop the fighting and cry. We just need to help them see the truth. You really think you can change their minds after so many years under Dr. Doyinbo's influence? Oga Benga shakes his head. No, it is too late. You heard what he said. They won't stop. My jaw clenched at his stubbornness. That is not true. Look at me and Inchebe. Even now, others like Ore and Chigozie have chosen to help us. These Solari have never had a choice before, but we can give them one. It is too risky. Oga Benga replies, his voice flat. What about your daddy? Zara says suddenly. Didn't Mr. Doyinbo train you too? Oga Benga flinches at a word as a word hits him square in the face. I'm impressed. I've never seen Zara stand up to him like this before, and I call him, and I can tell Oga Benga does not know how to handle it either. That is not relevant, he replies in a dismissive tone. Yes, it is, Zara insists. For so
Hi, great to be talking to you. So, you attended our first day of Naija ReadFest. What did you think about it? Sorry, could you introduce yourself first?
Hi, my name is Uzo. Yes, it's actually very exciting just hearing them read. I've never heard of
Yeah.
the book before, so hearing him
Oh,
read
really?
was really interesting. Even the way he was pronouncing some things, it was
Oh,
very
really?
interesting. He
What
kept
stuck out to
saying
you?
"kai kai,"
Oh my gosh.
and the "kai kai" he was saying was very interesting.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then there are some parts where I was like, what is happening? So it was actually very interesting, very enlightening. I didn't think I would like it or enjoy it as much as I did,
Yeah,
but it's actually really, really good.
that's
Happy to be
exciting to
here.
hear. Do you think you'll be showing up for other days?
Yes, definitely. You'll be seeing me. Don't worry, I'll be chief supporter. I'll be at the
We
door.
love that. It's so exciting to hear, actually.
Okay.
Do you have a
Me.
favorite book that you might have hoped they would read?
I was thinking I do not come to you by chance by Adobe Trisha Mwabani, but I'm hoping that he gets there or they get there
We
rather.
just might. You never know.
I'll come for that. I will stay all day, all night,
Oh my
lay
god,
my
that
mat
would,
on the floor
we're
for
getting that
that.
especially for you then. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you for having
and
me.
We hope that you made some videos and you could tag us when you do post up.
I will. I will tag you. I would share, comment, like, post.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. This has been Naija ReadFest with Jemima. Bye.
For all of us. If K rises in me and I let it, ready to defend my fellow Solari any way I can. Then Zara steps in front of her father, her hand outstretched. If you love me, you won't do this. Zara or Gagbinga begins. No, Daddy, she interrupts. We are Omnira. We fight for freedom. There's a tremble. There is a tremble in her voice, but the rest of her is not rock steady. This is not what Mama would have wanted, and it's not going to bring her back. If you are taking the salary, you have to lock me up with them. Ogagbinga's eyes go wide, and he stumbles back with a slow shake of his head. I can't tell who is more shocked, him or the crowd. There are more gasps and groaning, mumbling at Zara's earnest declaration. Ominira and Solari are like unable to believe she's willing to stand with us, even if it means having to suffer herself. Teammates, time seems to slow down as we all wait to see who will win the battle of wits between father and daughter. Ogagbenga looks haunted, but Zara is unmoved. Her eyes steady on her father as she wills him to make the right choice. At last, Ogagbenga comes to a decision and his gaze moves to me. This is your only chance. Use it well. I suck in a sharp breath as Zara throws herself into her father's arm. Ogagbenga looks bewildered for a moment, but then his body relaxes and his arms close around her. I say a proper prayer under my breath and return to the podium on my own to face the expectant faces watching me. This is it. Over 40 years ago, Dr. Doyinbo set in motion his plan to take control of this country. I began. I explained how Dr. Doyinbo was the first Solari and how he's been influencing the council ever since. I tell them about the diseases and what really happened to protect us. I informed them that my father and aunt have created a cure. I revealed the truth about Benga's revolt and the Ominira. We can't trust any of this. They are our enemies. Someone, yes, it is Fida, and her eyes are wide with fear. Professor Salako cleared his throat loudly. I can confirm everything Onyeka said. I am Ominira, and I have been living with you, and I've been living with you all years now. If I wanted to hurt you, I could have done so long time ago. The whisper increased at this new piece of information. Dr. Doyinbo has got this far because he's kept us fighting each other. Other than ours, he couldn't risk the Ominira revealing his lies. We are all Solaris, no matter what Dr. Doyinbo has said. I add, will be stronger if we work together. I go on to tell them that Dr. Doyinbo has been hunting us since we left the academy and how he kidnapped my best friend to blackmail us. He won't do that. Another shout. This time from one of the house prefects. Sarah heard around him not in agreement, and I sneak in a peek at the Dr. Doyinbo. The police smile covering his lips fills me with dread. Is he right? Is it too late to get through to the solary? I shake the thought away. I can't give up. Yes, he would, Ore shout, and I helped him do it. Ellie stepped up beside him. We both did. Yeah, you did. Yell an outraged voice, and I follow it to find Chineye flanked by Azan. And you ate my food too. With this final revelation, the mood in the room begins to shift. The academic students all know any and other and have serious beef between them. There are too many witnesses for the solary to easily dismiss now. We don't have to be weapons. I say, praising my new advantage. We can choose to be something else, something better. Nigeria is our home, and it is time we existed. I changed lift. We have lived in the shadows. Then I point to Dr. Doyinbo. Lived his life for too long, but now I choose truth. I stare out at the gathered crowd, a blaze of hope burning in my chest. What will you choose? A small silence follows my loud cry, and the blaze flickers. Just as I think I'll have failed, that our words were not enough. A low, strong voice pipes from beside me. I choose truth. I turn to find Zara, shoulder to shoulder with me. Me too, Anna says from a position in the crowd. And me, yes. I therefore, as that calls out, followed by Chineye, even though technically she doesn't count. Then an enthusiastic cry comes from my left, and I follow it to find Uche and his lizard. A big grin on both their faces. He punches a fist into the air. The Ominira are with his shout, and it's echoed by the others surrounding him. But the remaining solary are still silent. A hesitant fog of uncertainty blanketing them. A heavy weight settles in my belly. Then Ore steps forward. Any right beside him. They look at each other and nod as one. We are with him. We are with you. Their friends fall soon after and seems to trigger something as more solaris speak up until a symphony of voices chorus their pledge black at me. What is left of the weight in my stomach dissolves completely. It is replaced by a joy so sharp that I feel as if I could battle a whole army with it. I'm glad I don't have to. I stare at the strong walls surrounding us. Green and white banners hang proudly from them. A flaming sun blazing bright from the center. Beneath them, see the motto of the academy, we serve Nigeria. For too long, it is a militant response whenever Dr. Doyinbo demanded it from us. But no more. Now we will serve each other. We will serve the truth. Then I remember another question Dr. Doyinbo used to ask us often. And only now do I understand its true importance. I take a deep breath. Who are we? I bellow. We are solary. The answering sound is a thundering roar that fills the whole room and follow me as I leave the stage. It echoes like a battering ram, shattering the last of Dr. Doyinbo's lies and tearing through the division it created. We created a new legacy for ourselves, one that is completely our own. I face Dr. Doyinbo's, lock once again in Papa's grip, and smaller somehow, like a strong version of his former self. It is over, I tell him. We are no longer yours to command. Dr. Doyinbo gives me a sad look. I did what needed to be done. Now this country and all of you are lost. You are, Papa Papa said in a quiet voice, "It is you that is lost. We saw you as a father figure, but no loving parent will do what you did." Dr. Doyinbo doesn't say a thing, but a down look of horror entered his eyes as my father's word find their mark. But it is too late. "Take him away," Papa says as he hands Dr. Doyinbo over to MM. "Professor Salako will show you where the capture Ominira have been held." Before I know it, I'm surrounded by the rest of Nchebe along with Cheneye, and she wraps me in a hug. "You did it. I knew you could." Adan adds as she muzzles into. "You do well, oh," Adan says to Zara, giving her a friendly bumper on the shoulder. She said at him, but I see the small smile trying to pick through her stern expression. "Can we please never do anything like that again?" Niyi says that Cheneye and Adana release me. There is a small cut over his left eye. I nod back wholeheartedly, touching my damaged strand. "I hope we never have to." "Oh no," Cheneye gasps, her horrified eyes following my hand. "What happened?" I shrug. "It is just my hair. I will be fine." I realize for the first time that it is finally true. We are all going to be fine. Then Papa returns and my friend steps back to give us some space. "What happens now?" "What happens now?" I ask him. Papa takes my hand and gives it a small squeeze. "We leave. In one way, that is all we need to do." In his eyes, there is a promise of what is to come, and it is beautiful. Chapter 29. Onyeka, I smile. Warm flooding me as Chigoze's voice cut across the loud hum of the busy atrium. It's been 6 months since the showdown with Dodoimbo, and the atrium is once again packed students hurrying to their next class. Light filters through the tinted solar glass windows, casting a shimmering haze over everything and bathing us in a golden hue. The white polo shirt and green shorts that form our new uniform blaze brightly in its glow. Head turns at Chigoze's voice, eyes following my progress as I make my way over. I barely notice, though, my attention fixed on the grainy girl in front of me. "How far?" I say with a smile. "You are wanted in the principal's office," she replied. My head tilts in surprise and a stray chunky twist flops across my second sight. My hair is finally growing back, and I tuck it into place to join the rest of the twist that cascade down my back in a blue-black waterfall of hair. "What happened?" I asked concerned. I know better than to keep our new principal waiting. With a quick wave, I turned and head toward the main office, my brain trying to work out why I've been summoned. My eyes drift toward the main staircase, searching automatically for the massive digital screen. But the rankings list and houses are gone, and along with it, the competitive atmosphere that used to stalk the academic and everyone in it. The patriotic banner are also no more. Propaganda, that is what Adana call it as we watch them being pulled down and replaced instead with a colorful artwork by local artists. My feet clack loudly along the art floor as I hurry towards the office, but I can't help but pause as I pass the huge baobab tree. The names carved into the rich brown bark that winds around the thick trunk are a new addition. They are a reminder of every solar who has died serving Nigeria, serving Dr. Doyinbo's life. It is also a reminder that we must never let it happen again. I haven't thought about Dr. Doyinbo in a while. After he was arrested by the council's special security officers, he was quickly tried in a secret court and found guilty of human rights abuses. Papa's worried that Dr. Doyinbo is still hiding secret, but he reckons he will spend the rest of his life in prison. With a quick shake of my head, I continue on my way, striding past the trees. I turn into a wide corridor on my right. It's empty except for the two heading towards me. That is not fair, Muhammad. Seun cries in a petulant voice. You know you are not allowed to teleport when we are playing hide and seek. Mohammed stared at her totally unbothered. You are just annoyed because I won, he says. I ignore them as a message alert from Cheneye pops up on second sight. After she was kidnapped, my parents had no choice but to tell her about the solar population. It was the only way they could explain the fake message and why Chineye had missed at camp. Uncle Dakpo and Auntie Temi were livid at first, but they eventually came around. Uncle Dakpo even decided to move the whole family back to Nigeria, and he's just got a big part in a major Nollywood movie. Just as I'm about to open the message, a collision warning flashes across my vision. Mohammed is so busy crying to Sheun, he hasn't seen me, and I barely managed to sidestep his over wheelchair. Muhammad, I began in warning. Sorry, he called out sheepishly before he goes right back to taunting Sheun. The sound of their buckling follows me, even as I round the corner, and a lightness fills me knowing that they won't ever have to worry about the sickness. They get to have the future that so many soldiers before us never did. When I reach the principal office, I knock once they enter. Auntie Naomi's attention is fixed on virtual fiberglass decks, her fingers flying over the holographic icons as she walks. The office looks completely different. With all the heavy wooden furniture and picture removed, it feels lighter and more welcome. The bookcase and secret rooms are gone too. Adana and I insisted it be sealed up, and no one was about to argue with us. You called for me, I asked. My voice is hesitant, but I can't help it. Auntie Naomi looks up then. Thank you for coming, Onyeka, she says in a soft voice. After the epic showdown with Dr. Doyinbo, we were not sure what to happen to the academy. Would the council close the school or try and lock us up like Ogagbenga considered doing? In the end, they decided to keep AOS open because so many of us are still young. No one wanted to risk enrolling untrained solary into regular schools, and my father and Ogagbenga were adamant that we shouldn't remain Nigerian dirty secrets. Though no one can decide when or how to review our existence. Now the Ominira have joined us. The school is bigger than before, ever. We needed a head teacher we could trust, and one who could also perform what it meant to be solary. Auntie Naomi was the perfect choice and a chance for fresh start. It's also why we changed our title from head teacher to principal. Is everything okay? Has there been another fight? I asked. No, nothing like that. I didn't mean to worry you. My body relaxes. I call you because I received a message from your parents. They would like you to go home for a visit next weekend. I wanted to check with you before I approve it. I nod as relief fills me. Papa is an elder on the lower council now, and he and mom live together in a nice house in Lagos, as they have decided to give their marriage another go. So much has changed in a few months. My life back in London before I discovered I was solar feels like a dream. But now I'm fully awake. It is great having Papa around. It makes mommy happy and we are getting to know each other properly. Though it does mean I have another person telling me what to do all the time. I'm even enjoying my classes and I'm making a lot of new friends. AOS now has day borders, but I'm a full-time border because of Inchebe. We have to be ready at short notice in case any new solar pop up. I go home at weekends and during the holidays, though. Yeah, that's fine, I reply. Auntie Naomi gave me a small smile. You shouldn't worry about the fighting. It's going to take a while for the academic kids and the Ominira kid to settle down. And for Solari to truly become one. I'm quite pleased with the progress we have made over the last few months. There has not been a fight in at least a week. I nod again. There actually was a fight yesterday, but Inchebe are so good at breaking them up now that Auntie Naomi does not always hear about them. Something niggles at the back of her mind, and I wonder if I should tell her. Then I shake the thought away. Auntie Naomi gets enough on her plate trying to set up the solar force with Ogagbenga and Papa. After graduating from AOS, Solari no longer have to become protector or join any of the armed force. We are free to decide our own futures now. Instead, the Solari force will be tasked with protecting Nigeria and its citizens from any Solari who might decide to create trouble in the future. It is our way of taking responsibility for the potential harm our powers could cause. It is totally voluntary, but Niyi has already signed up for the 4-year training program. I'm hoping a peaceful transition at the academic will help ease the council's worry once the secret is out. Auntie Naomi says, I doubt it somehow. The Lamu Ezeoba has agreed to reveal our existence, but the councils are taking their time deciding when. Adana reckons they are worried about how the world will react to find out about Solari. I don't say this though. Do you know when they are planning on telling anyone? I ask instead. Auntie Naomi shakes her head. This thing takes time and a lot of diplomacy, but I believe things are moving along. I'm sure your father will be able to fill you in when you see him next week. I doubt that too. Papa never tells me anything that's going on with the council. Auntie Naomi stand and give me another smile, but I recognize the dismissal in it. Just in time too, as the talking drum signaling lunch sound. My stomach grows along with the driving rhythm. I really hope there is asaro on the menu. Niyi ate it, but I love the chunky yam pottage, especially when it is sweet. The curtain is buzzing as usual when I enter. Several solarists stopped to say hi, and I paused by Ore and any stable to chat for a few minutes. Then I spot the rest of Inchebe at our regular spot. Azan, Niyi, and Uche are bent over their food, laughing, while Adana is playing with Zara's hair. It is orange now, and she's growing it out again. Adana's eyes lift, zeroing in on me straight away. Even in an emotional, crowded room of clashing sound and scent, she can always find me. She waves and I make my way over. Chapter 30. This dance battle better start soon. Uche said before I have even sat down. The Agama lizard on his shoulder nod as if it agrees. Then Uche stands suddenly and begins moving his legs in an awkward shuffle. I've been practicing my leg work all week. You and that lizard need more practice, Adana says with a roll of her eyes. Why do you all like to dance in the middle of the canteen anyway? Why do you take everything so seriously? Uche replies undaunted. We should try and relax small. He pats the lizard on the head gently. Ganiru thinks you should try having some fun. Adana crosses her arms. I am relaxed. I push down the laughter bubbling up in the back of my throat. No day is complete without Adana and Uche get into an argument. Though to be fair, they are usually harmless. I quickly point to Uche's empty chair beside Zara. Sit yourself and Ganiru back down. I command with a grin. Uche grunts but obey anyway. I take the seat beside Niyi before greeting everyone. I enjoy this Azaro well. Say Azan, digging his fork into the bright orange mountain on his plate. I eye it with envy. Chai, do you ever stop eating? Niyi replies with a grimace. Azan laughs, giving him a close-up view of the food in his mouth. I watch them with a smile. Then Adana turned to me. Her locks are pulled up in a complicated style I help her create. Che, text me, she say, tapping second sight. She wants to know if the sleepover is still on this weekend. So that's what her earlier message was about. I totally forget the sleepover was this weekend. Che is a full bro. Che is a full border at school too. But we have a sleepover here at the academic every 2 weeks. Sure, I replied. I'm not going home until the week after anyway. Suddenly, Uche gives me a broad grin. I hear you have to go to see Dr. Uduike. Oh, someone is in trouble. You do know the principal is her auntie, right? Zara replied him. Uche's smile dips into a pout that make him look like a fish. Why are you like this? Zara just shake her head before taking a bite of her meat pie. Everything okay? Niyi asked me. I nodded and explained about my parents. I also told them what Auntie Naomi said about the councils. What do you think it will be like when everyone finally find out about us? Zara asked. Niyi shrugs. I think it will be a bit chaotic at first. See much of either of your dads for a bit. Zara and I share a look. Ogagwinga is also on the lower council, and Zara spends most weekend with him. Adana talks gently on one of Zara's orange braids. Maybe you can join Inchebe properly then. We are going to be on Beanboard and stuff. Uche says, excitement feed his first voice. We go be popular well. It go be like we dey inside film. Adana join in. Azan join in. Adana rolls her eyes, more like a horror movie. She say in a small voice, there you go again. Uche says with a groan, fine. Adana sigh. Then her voice goes all weird and high. The world is totally going to love us. Everyone who follows us online, and someone will put all our faces on expensive t-shirts. The table goes completely quiet. Then we all burst out laughing at how ridiculous she sang. What about you? Onyeka? Uche asks when the laughter finally dies down. I shrug. I don't know if the Nigerian people or even the rest of the world will accept us. But it almost doesn't matter. We are solary and nothing can change that. As long as we remain united and remember who we are. I think we'll be fine. I finally say. Just then, an Afrobeat song pours out of the speaker system, signaling the big of the dance battles. Are you people coming or not? Uche calls at us as he moves towards the dance area. I grin at my friends. He's right. It is time to have some fun because we have more than anything. I get up and join him, showing off my shocky moves. Soon, the others join us, even Adana, and together we dance, letting the joy of the beat, the hope in the rhythm, and power of the lyrics flow through us. It unites us in a single beautiful moment that nothing can touch or ruin. My room is dark and quiet as I let myself inside. Adana stayed behind in the canteen with the others and I'm alone. I switch on the light and jump as a tall figure steps forward. Hello, Onyeka. Papa, I squeal, recognizing his deep voice. His arms open and I rush into them. What are you doing here? I thought I was not seeing you until next week. I am here on official council business. Post. We have just found a new solary. I step back and blink at him. A new solary? There has not been one since. Well, since me. I stay at Papa, trying to understand what this means for the councils, and especially for the academy. Though, from the look on Papa's face, I'm guessing it is not great. Where are they? I ask. Are they here already? Papa shakes his head. That's why I came. The solary is not in England. The solary is not in Nigeria. It is in England. Bristol to be precise. Bristol? My mind races as I try to make sense of my dad's word, but I can't. How in solar did the solar ray end up in Bristol? I don't understand. I finally say. We don't have the full picture. Papa says, rubbing his face. He looked tired. But we do know that we need to get out of England right now before there is a diplomatic incident. The solar force is not operative yet. So Inchebe must go. But I stuttered. We are not ready. We are still training. Papa placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. His eyes alight with a faith that settled my nerves. You are ready. He says in a firm voice, it is time. The end. Dishonorable, Honorable by Joby Mike Toby. Chapter 1. There has been more hue and cry than action in the weeks preceding the election in the religious circle. The air was crisp and the dark cloud was just exhaling dim light. Imams and pastors alike fashioned their sermons in line with election hype. They outlined the do's and don'ts for those who had ears to heed. Since it is under their nose believers and those camouflaging as one intermix. Some churches even went the extra mile. They decided to usher in the election money with intensive prayers. Tabernacle of Christ ministry was not found wanting in this respect. The church is not the biggest in Oriakmata, but at its weekly services, she could boast of having over a dozen scores of worshippers. On Sundays, its population easily tripled the weekend attendance. The Pentecostal church was equally known as Breakthrough Vineyard by its teeming congregation in the early years of its development. The church building has a history of its own. Cynics would love to recount. Pastor Hilary Christopher is the man spearheading our evangelical missions. Also, he doubles as a founder. He once used the church building for a printing press. His business in the rented apartment had begun on a good note before things went awry. The reason he gave to friends and associates who are founding members of his church was simply spiritual attack. He claimed that attack by evil spirits hampered the smooth running of his business. This made him seek divine intervention. In the process of his doing this, he received the divine call in a trance. However, his detractor says he was only being greedy. They felt he was dissatisfied with the little gains of his workplace. This, they declare, made him up onto the train of the viral gospel business. Though many still revere his courageous switch to his new vocation, his rapidly increasing congregation base lent credence to his ingenuousness. Some residents can also affirm the breakthrough they had received therein. This earned the church its name and fame. One night, Pastor Hilary Christopher led his congregation through a vigorous praying season. Some wailed as they prayed, while others were on their knees, screaming atop their voices, casting and binding unclean spirits. The temperament of the worshipper was on a high. The man of God had prophesied impending change in Oriakpata. To the disappointment of worshippers, he didn't mention if it will be for the better or worse. Some ardent believers went ahead to call it a bluff. This being that even sweet beggars were familiar with the changes election brings. New policy might either persuasively or through the use of coercion make many return to their hometown. The pendulum could either swing to the left or right, but it could hardly swing yet leave their lives unchanged, especially when a leader has spent the most constitutional approved maximum number of tenure in office. More so, everyone knows they must compulsorily take a day off work on election day. This means to encourage or to exercise their franchise. It was a big minus for peasants who live on daily job. There was also the restriction of movement. This hinders the beggars from carrying out the home-to-home visitation of their customers. The shepherd orders his flock to put their unquantifiable grace from where it was being held hostage. This prayer point revitalized God's people. Some went ahead to add threats. They sought the fire of the Holy Ghost to descend into the camp of election triggers. They bared their mind loudly in prayer. Each man seemed braced up to pull down the gates and window of heaven for divine favor. At that moment, a man brisk in. He was garbed in green long flowing agbada. He was like an hanger in his robes due to his brief stature. He had on a green cap like those of the late Yoruba sage, Awolowo. Exhaustion made him put on a weary look. He stood for some brief seconds at the rear entrance of the church. The ushers who were carried away by the prayers failed to notice the stranger. Then he shyly walked up to sit on a vacant white plastic chair at the back. Subsequently, heads began turning one after the other. Short lead began to part. Prayer warriors nudged one another. They had snapped out of their momentary trance back to earth. Occupants of the scanty front pew craned their heads. Everyone wanted to catch a sight of the royal father. Worshippers were fast dislodging from the Shiloh mood to fix their gaze on the newcomer. The man stood, grim visage staring back at them. Pastor Hilary, with both eyes shut, couldn't help but notice the sudden drop of voice. The church was fast becoming grave in silence. He gave a questioning look around. This prompted some to continue with their prayers. Others were frozen mystified. He tried following the gaze of some who were adamant of confirming that they had not seen a ghost. His eyes were still probing when a member of his prayer warrior team walked up to him. Nobu Alaji is in our church? What? You don't mean it? He said, bewildered. I said, our Nobu Alaji is in the church with us. The man whispered into his ears. The fair complexion pastor had a bump on his left cheek. After maiding rubbing the bump with precision, he adjusted his coat. Pastor Hilary gave the man beside him a questioning look. He was convinced whether to believe or to disbelieve what he had just heard. Yes, Nobu Alaji, the man whispered in his ears once more to clear his doubt. Pastor Hilary gently moved down through the sole aisle of the church. Hallelujah, amen. He shouted into the microphone in his hand in his usual vibrant manner. The congregation gave a weak response. Feeling dissatisfied, he shouted even louder, Hallelujah and amen. Amen, the faithful chorused. Immediately, Pastor Hilary raised the song. Move on, don't be tired, says the Lord your God. Move on, don't be tired, says the Lord your God. Move on. He sportly jogged down the aisle of the church. The congregation joined in chanting the chorus, regaining their composure. They joyfully sang and danced. The song's theme was to become a subject of controversy among the people for a long time. Some claimed the message was directed to the new converts. They believed it was a clear rejection of Nobu Alaji by man of God. Others felt the song was simply directed at the congregation to ginger them. Pastor Hilary returned to the pulpit after confirming his own eyes the identity of the newcomer. By now, Nobu Alaji had taken off his cap like the other men he saw. He diligently joined the faithful in their worship songs. He appeared like someone who had memorized all the songs with his enthusiasm. Not wanting to be the black sheep among them, he hummed and clapped with others. Soon, he became carried away, dancing and enjoying the groove of the church choir. When the time came to sit, this he easily did. But for praying loudly like others, he couldn't. He simply bowed his head, meditating. This period provided veritable opportunity for him to doze off. He did this while seated at Pastor Hilary, as Pastor Hilary preached at the pulpit. This saved him from being embarrassed by someone. The courageous man of God hammered on the need to sustain the polity young democracy, and he was generous enough to his congregation by taking a swipe at the country's leader. He blamed their restless thirst for power as the bane of a new Nigeria, and their protruded tummy he refers as the root of all evil, the Holy Scripture warned of. In the early hours of the morning, the vigil was wrapped up. Noble Alaji remained seated for some minutes to allow the congregation to disperse. He simply waved at those who greeted him without uttering a word. His palms were wet, and he could feel the heat on his chest. Upon noticing that Pastor Hilary was finally by himself, he approached him. He called him aside to a corner beside the sanctuary. They took their seats there to discuss. He turned to ensure that no one was keeping tab of their discussion. He felt awkward sighting some worshippers whose gaze met his, but the distance made him feel relaxed. He was not going to shout after all, he thought. Sorry to disturb you, man of God. No problem, sir. You are most welcome. In fact, I feel elated that you have come to worship with us today, Pastor Hilary said, nodding in an exaggerated manner. If you are to peep through the windows of heaven now, you'll be surprised. They are jumping over themselves because of you. Hey, yeah. You mean they have started celebrating my victory already? Yet I'm yet dying of worry. That is not what I mean, sir. I mean great joy. Plenty joy. Hallelujah joy in heaven over a repentant sinner. So am I now a sinner? I only came to your church to say your prayer. I believe our God is the same even though we look at him through different windows. Just like that window you want me to peep through. He said in a wavering tone. He moved the plastic chair he sat on closer to Pastor Hilary. I don't want my case to be like the person that fi ètè sílẹ̀ tó ń pa làpàlàpà. Let me tell you the challenge I have right now. If your Jesus can tackle this for me, then you will stop using this warehouse as. Please, Alaji, respect Jesus. Respect him. Remember you are in the house of God. Pastor Hilary interrupted, trying to paper over the crack. This is a church. He reminds Nobu Alaji pauselessly. Okay. I want you to pray for me. Kí orí ọlọ́lá mi má bàa pé orí tèmi rán níṣẹ́. He said, tapping his bad head thrice. Our people say that ẹyẹlé kì í bá onílé jẹ kó bó onílé mu kí ó dọjọ́ ikú yẹrí. He added. He cleared his throat before continuing. You know the land where your Jesus resides actually belongs to me. I can choose to revoke his tenancy if he fails to cooperate. He said menacingly. So you better tell your Jesus that he should make me win the election. Tell him. And for you, his pastor, you must pray all day and all night for my victory. He had. Pastor Hilary quietly stared at him for some seconds. Before him, he appeared like the biblical Pharisee. He felt astounded that Nobu Alaji believed in God. Yes, was not familiar with the Holy Scriptures. Aside the post that will be kick-starting some hours' time, the two were word apart. Nobu Alaji cared less about pouring oil on troubled waters. He simply must impose his wish as a royal father, he thought. He never for once had it in mind that he was now the former Baale. Pastor Hilary held the two hands of Nobu Alaji, who offered a whimper of protest before finally
giving in. He stared at the pastor who had begun muttering some words. Noticing that his eyes were shut, he constantly repeated, Amen. When the pastor was through with the prayer, he gently let go of his hands. This made Nobu Alaji feel like an innocent child before him. Tell me, the man of God began speaking authoritatively. What shall it profit a man who gains the whole world, and after that he ends up losing his soul? Tell me. Oh, what sort of question is that? Firstly, you called me a sinner. Now you are speaking in parables. Look, say what you have to say. I don't have time, he said menacingly. That's the message of my Jesus to you, Pastor Hilary said casually. He rose to his feet at once and walked off. Noble Alaji felt his bum burning in his seat. He gaped with open mouth at him. He was disturbingly mystified. Pastor Hilary's musky scent haunted him still. This greatly infuriated him. He who was the sole owner of Ori Akpata and soon the whole of Akpata local government humiliated this way. I pity your Jesus, he said. Very soon he will be without a home. What will become of you, his blind servant? He murmured. He felt it was improper to shout after the man of God, since the votes of some of these people watching him would contribute to his victory. He got to his feet and glanced at his gold chain wristwatch. It was few minutes before 6 o'clock. With marked indignation, he strode towards the exit of the church. He knows he has to catch up to say his soul in the mosque, and he would not want to be late for the morning prayer. He did not want to miss making a good impression on the mind of the worshippers. Their votes mattered, he thought. Noble Alhaji was not like some ardent Muslims who devotedly observed their 5 daily salah. Even he could hardly recollect the last day he visited the mosque. But this day was special. He got into the back seat of his car and tapped his driver, who had dozed off. Straight to the mosque, be fast. Pajo was startled, grabbing the steering wheel. He was the one who advised his boss to attend the church he had just left. But he chose not to attend the vigil himself. He looked back when his boss did not give a response. Noble Alhaji had dozed off too. Alhaji, where did you say we are going to? He inquired. His boss lazily opened an eyelid. To the mosque, he replied. Pajo wanted to probe further, but he checked himself, afraid of his master's razor tongue. Noble Alhaji had promised Pajo the other day before that he would be having a day off on the election day. He said this while returning from the house of his chiefs. The mission was to distribute fat brown envelopes. Pajo was counting on the restriction of movement to take time off work. He knew this would force his boss to keep to his promise. Noble Alhaji definitely must, he hoped. Ori Iyami, Ayaba Agbaki, Masu Loro, Showo. You mean I must pass the day in this ugly? No, Alhaji, stop that. How dare you say such words about the deity's pot? Do you want to annoy the spirits inside? Abogun said reprovingly. Spirit? Inside? Noble Alhaji exclaimed. He felt his head spin. The uneasiness gave him an instant headache. He sank into a sensual quicksand at the thought of entering the large metal pot. He felt highly disgusted thinking about it. He could hardly bear the thought of spending a minute therein. He shrugged with the expression of gross contempt written all over his face. That is exactly what I'm saying. You mean I must enter this pot and mingle with spirits? I'm afraid I may not be able to do that. Maybe you have to get another potent solution, he said, stretching out his legs on the mat where he sat. He looked around, giving a mean look to the scary masks in the shrine. My son, remember how your father Agbakin diligently served Ogun, the god of iron. Now see how Ogun blessed him with a prosperous son to ascend the throne of his father. If not for Ogun, your father would have died childless with no heir, Abogun confessed. What then would have become of me? You would certainly have been conceived into a wretched family like mine. Never, Ogun forbid, Noble Alhaji remarked. Oh, that is why you must enter into this iron pot. Allow the concussion soak into your body. Votes will surely be cast in your favor. The witches and wizards in Apata will call you alone darling today. The children will see you as their dear father. Men and women will regard you as their best friend. Everyone's hearts will make merry. Lips will sing the praise of Noble Alaji. Every heart will long for you, and you alone, since you have won the favor of the gods, Abogu declared. Instead of being relieved, Noble Alaji was weighed down the more. His fear was in a vacuum tube. It could give no room for a breath of hope. Now, he could hardly appreciate anyone with a good sense of humor. Neither can words of exhortation suit his eardrum. But Awo, are you sure I won't die after spending hours in this thing I'm looking at? He asked. The spirits in it are waiting to communicate with you. Alaji, you must learn to trust me. The rituals must be completed. If not, your effort so far will be in vain. It will amount to a waste. I can't betray you now. At least I have been working with you since your return. Abogu said with a passionate, croaky voice. I'm really sorry to doubt your words, Abogu. It's just that my enemies keep multiplying with each passing day. It does not matter whether you offend them or not. Leave them to multiply. Your own business is to get to your destination. You will soon become their chairman. Let me correct you, Abogu. I don't intend stopping there. I still have many steps to take. Mind you, I'm just about making use of the staircase. I know where I belong. It is with the stars. I have just decided not to rush things by starting here in Apata. Aso Rock is in view. Okay, Alaji, just enter into the pot. The content won't reach your mouth. It is meant to make you strong like an Apata. You know it is only a real rock that can rule this big Apata of ours. Abogun added. He pulled up the red shirt he had on. Then he passed his right hand over his clean-shaved beard to wipe off the sweat. He felt Noble Alaji was not convinced yet. Noble Alaji sluggishly moved closer to the black pot. His eyes were dull and sleepy. Now he must spend hours in a strange pot whose content might sniff life out of him. Certainly the God of the believers was not this harsh, he thought. Resigning to fate, he took off his buba and sokoto. The blue boxers and white singlet he had on were left. He eased as he took off the singlet as well. Then he helped himself out with a small stool. He gave a loud sigh as he squatted in the pot. Hours passed with Nobalaji enduring the odor of the thick black content of the black pot. At intervals, he called out demanding, "Is it not 6 o'clock yet?" "I'm dying, oh." A very response, "No," would make him still once more. Abogun continued chanting unending incantations. He took to some epic as well. Then he recited an ode to Ogun, the god of his ancestors. Ogun lakaye, Oshimole, ó ní omi nílé, ó fi ẹ̀jẹ̀ wẹ̀, ó ní aṣọ nílé, ó fi màrìwò bora. Méje ní ire, méje Ògún, Ògún tó ní jẹ́ àjà, Ògún tó lọ́lá ní mú jẹ́ ènìyàn. Ògún mọ́là, mọ́là ní jẹ́ èkùrù. Ògún ìmọ̀là ní jẹ́ ìgbín. Ògún onígbàjámọ̀ irú orin ló ń jẹ. Ó tó ní ti onílé já pẹ́pẹ́. Tọ́ba ní pẹ́pẹ́, ẹ̀rí ní toro. Aṣọ iná ní aṣọ egúngún. Aṣọ màrìwò ní aṣọ ìkẹyìn. Ní ọjọ́ tí Ògún torí òkè bọ, aṣọ iná ló mú bora. Ewu ẹ̀jẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ṣọ̀run. Abogun was sweating profusely like a mountain climber. He had just finished roasting the yams for the ritual. A yellow keg beside him was filled to the brim with palm oil. Palm oil was in the other small keg beside it. Some abata, kola nuts were kept in a saucer. Another saucer was used in covering them, making it seem like a discourse. Endure, my son, endure victory. Victory is all I see ahead of you. Oh, won't that dog ever stay quiet? Abogu wore a look of disdain. He turned his gaze in the direction of the inner room where the sound of barking came from. He was just returning from the backyard. He had gone to check on the dog tied to a branch of the tree where the sacrifice was to be made, and he was astonished to see the dog barking at the raffia decorated tree of sacrifice. He went ahead to spank the dog with one of the rods at the foot of the tree. The poor thing simply became more wild, as though foreseeing its end. Abogu danced round the metal pot. He wobbled as he did. He was simply fagged out, having been preparing for this all night. He consoled himself with the assurance that Nobu Alaji was a generous man when it comes to the traditional worship. He looked around, being a critic of the shrine. He would be needing some modern upholstery, he concluded. The mat was not befitting of a chairman's temple of worship, and the mats hanging on the walls need repainting too. Maybe polishing them would be better, he ruminated, or outright disposal for new ones. That's it, he concluded. Abogu had inherited virtually everything in the shrine from his father. He felt he needed to acquire new things to hand over to his successor too. Suddenly he became conscious of the business at hand. He continued chanting. He called on the spirit of his fathers and all other idle good spirits in the air to descend on Nobu Alaji. Enter, 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 give victory like an apata, he commanded. The sun was bidding farewell to the skies, yet Nobu Alaji was still squatting in the pot. Finally, the time came for the rounding off of the rites. Abogu was back from the backyard where he went to make sacrifice, and he had used all the items gotten for that purpose. The air in the shrine was still as the dog was no more. The calm that the shrine bore since morn was still intact. No visitor showed up on this important day. The patrons of this old shrine, situated among mountains, were exercising their civic responsibility. If only they knew that the controversial nucleus of the poles was right in Abogu's ancestral sacred pot. Abogu came out from the innermost chamber of the shrine. He peeped outside, observing the dull clouds. He sighed, returning to the shrine. He picked up a small calabash on the floor. He spilled the contents into the huge metal pot. He repeated him with two remaining calabash. This time is right. The Apata of Apata, arise now, he shouted. He resumed the incantation. Minuet strode by, yet the pot was still with its contents. Are you sleeping, Alaji? It is time. The bewildered man stood on his toes, peering into the pot. He was confronted by the bowed head of Nobu Alaji, stained with the various ritual recipes. Alaji, I say, come out, it is over, Nobu Alaji called out but got no response. The old priest shuddered as he was enmeshed in his own sweat. He paced around the shrine. Distorted incantations jumped out of his mouth as a stammerer would. He bit his tongue and then stopped. Son, 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 he called out. Yes, Baba Abogu, I'm here, a voice echoed from the inner chamber. What do you mean by you are there? I say, come over here fast, he ordered with a thunderous voice. A young lad ran out of the room to meet Abogu's flaming eyes. Baba Abogu, hope all is well, the lad asked. You know what you will do? Now, go to Oluwo's place. Tell him to assemble the initiates, he said in a shaky voice, skirting the lad's question. Tell him I said a wild wind is threatening to ravage our land. Run, he ordered. You mean Nobu Alaji? The lad questioned. Abogu was too absent-minded to have heard. He simply ran across the shrine, touched the various symbols hanging around. He appeared set, forcefully waked them. How come? Could he have made a mistake somewhere? Who would believe that what would remain of the shrine after this day, and his own reputation in the land? How will he get his daily bread? Won't his colleague turn their back against him? The questions flew out of his head non-stop. Alaji in Ogun Sport. Never. No. Never. No. The God forbid. Abogu blasted out as though threatening. But it wasn't my fault after all, was it? But he got no response. The man who knew how it all started would not budge. Abogu ran into the inner chambers and ran out almost immediately. His fatigue was gone and his senses became wild and sharp. He resumed chanting the songs of his father, even those he had never sung since he learnt them. He ordered all the spirits he had invited into the metal pot to depart in haste. But Noble Alaji refused to ascend from the mysterious pot. Abogu was fast losing his patience. He silently wished he had not embarked on this at all. It was that one thing leading to Adam finding himself in Eden, then eating that forbidden fruit that also made him depart. So goes the story of Adam's offspring, Noble Alaji 2. Chapter 2. The wall clock in the hut of Dada drew the attention of his visitor. Baba Ade took his seat on a wooden chair. The buff chair was shaped like a small letter H written slantwise. The brown spray polish of the rickety chair had washed out. Baba Ade could not help but notice the cracked plaster of the wall he sat facing. A thin line like lightning ran through the wall only to disappear under the transparent tattered curtains. Baba Ade was careful not to make the old chair bear the burden of his weight. The chair shook in protest as he changed his sitting posture. He tried not to draw the attention of his friend to his uneasiness. Dada was engrossed discussing Noble Alaji with his friend. We have packed everything by the entrance. You must have seen them as you came in. It's just sad, Dada noted regrettably. Dada is one of the few men who is stuck to farming as a profession in Oriakpata Kingdom. That is what Noble Alaji did to Mama Abike. Everything appears to have come to a standstill right now, Dada declared. The same Noble Alaji who awarded our Abike a scholarship after her junior WAEC exam. Baba Ade questioned. He found it hard to believe his ears. He could have asked Dada to swear if not that his Islam faith forbids such. He could not understand why this man he secretly admired could stoop so low. He saw the ballet of Oriakpata Kingdom as a genius. This summed up a fact that the ballet, on assuming his father's throne, declared himself as Noble Alaji. Since then, the popularity of this man had gone haywire. Baba Ade is an ardent Muslim who cannot afford the expense of a trip to Mecca, this being one of the requirements for a Muslim to become an Alaji or Alaja. Though Baba Ade was not sure if the ballet truly visited the whole city as he claimed, it was said that Noble Alaji had his education in the city. He had worked there for years as an education consultant. This was after he secured his national certificate examination in introductory technology. He returned upon pleas from the elders in Apata to ascend his father's throne. Many residents know that the late Baale Agbaki once forced his son to acquire formal education. This was due to his truancy in those early years. His late father rose up to the occasion. Agbaki could not sit back and watch his only son become an eyesore to him. Things changed when the throne of the Agbaki became vacant. Akpata residents were jubilant upon his son's return. It was on this note that Adio as close friends called him, christened himself Noble Alaji. None raised an eyebrow if his noble background makes him deserving of the religious title Alaji. What Oriakpata residents wanted was a ballet from the royal lineage, and they got one in this man in his late 40s. Baba Ade would love to be like his friend Dada. He too wanted to have something to boast of, as his friend did with his JP, Jerusalem Pilgrim title. Dada was sponsored by his church on the Christians' holy pilgrimage to Jerusalem. This made him the envy of friends. It was his devotion to the church that earned him the honor. He would pack a good portion of his harvest to church annually. This was all he could offer, but his generosity was almost on a par with the widow's mite. Though at present his church mind could not fathom why he was in this predicament. His daughter Abike brought admiration to his family and Oriakpata 6 years ago. She successfully emerged as a student with the best results in Akpata for the junior secondary certificate examination. She made 8 distinctions in all, mathematics and English included. This earned her a scholarship from the Ballet of Oriakpata, Nobu Alaji. The ballet kept to its promise by sponsoring her secondary school education. This love coming from the ballet was believed to be innocent until some days back. Nobalaji paid a surprising visit to Dada. Baba Abike once again. I congratulate you over Abike's SSC performance. I know it is 3 years ago, but it is still worth celebrating. 5 distinctions at a go is not a small feat. In fact, I'm proud of her. I'm proud of you too, Nobalaji had remarked, beaming with smiles. Oh, thank you very much, Bale, for the support, Dada said. I find it disturbing that she is yet to continue with her education. With Abike's astounding results, she deserves to be flown out of this country to complete her education. Thank you, Bale, for sharing in my family's joy. Abike is a real good girl. She understands the condition of the family. The fees of some of these universities can be frightening for someone like me. Last year, she voluntarily accepted to forfeit her admission after being informed about the cost of accommodation and fees. Her plan is that she must find a university where they don't pay much. Omo tó bá sípá ní òbí gbé. Abike has grown to become a beautiful lady. We are all proud of her. She does not deserve to suffer or be living like this, Nobalaji said, pointing to the worm-infested center table. She has a bright future. I have no other option than to safeguard it for her as the ballet. I'm sure you are aware that I have been declared as the chairmanship candidate of Green White Green movement. Everyone has heard ballet. Congratulations. Yes, I want to give Abike the best of education, Nobalaji remarked. You mean another scholarship? Dada asked in anxiety. Yes, but there is a condition attached to it this time. It is for the good of all of us. Our people say, Oroki wuwo, Oroki wuwo, titi kafi obebu. You have spoken well, Bale. You have my ears. Let me tell you straight in the eye, man to man. I want Abike to join my wives. Wait, Alaji, it does not seem I understand what you have just said. Baba Abike, Agbaki sọ̀rọ̀ bí ewé. Remember, Noba Alaji replied. One major legacy he had gotten from his late father is the mastery of Yoruba proverbs. The late Agbaki hardly conversed using mere statements when it comes to usage of proverbs. Agbaki was proverbs himself. He was the interpreter and even inventor of new ones among his people. He filled every lacuna in his few but witty statements with proverbs, and this had a great influence on his son. I said I want your daughter's hand in marriage, he declared. Ah! Nobu! Ah! 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 Dada screamed. Short of words, he burst out of his hut, feeling stupefied. He felt it was an insult, so he walked out on the royal father. Dada painfully narrated his ordeal to his friend. After this incident, followed the demolition of the market store of Mama Bike. This was the aftermath of his insubordination. You know how things are in our country. Little man can't fight big man. Fighting the Bale would amount to enmity with the entire Oriakpata people. So please, I should please do what? Dada fired back at his friend. Have you forgotten how we harbored big plans for our children? The plan that your obituary would have survived by doctor, so and so, engineer, barrister, architect, as title of your successors. Is this what should become of it all? If not for the less rewarding profession of mine, why would I be depending on anybody to give my children sound education? You want me to allow the new deadly virus in town to kill my daughter Abike? You want my mirror in the modern world to get broken by becoming his fourth wife? I'm poor, but I have not lost my senses. Calm down, Dada. Calm down. You have made your point. Baba Ade tried pacifying his friend. To him, Nobalaji taking a new wife was no show of shame. It is neither extravagant nor un-Islamic, nor portraying him as licentious. Dide was the sole consideration he thought. This was with Islam faith, the division of two fruits between two wives without partiality, and at the same time each wife was to have a share of each fruit. None must miss out from the enjoyment, should in case one fruit is better than the other. Baba Ade's attempt to put this into practice in his marital life. At least his wives are not complaining. His policy was that each wife was for her children. Since there was no dining table for family meals, each wife had her own cooking utensils, and they had roughly been pushing it through for many years now. But he couldn't remind his friend how he knows Dada would gladly list out the lacunas before his face. The basic fault he found in the royal father's action was that he already had three wives. The religion of peace, Islam, does not permit a believer exceeding that number. But what about your yams? He asked. I will meet with Mr. Okon. His shop is on the road leading to the market. I believe that place is more in the open compared to this compound. You are right, Baba Ade affirmed. He gazed up at the wall clock. He was surprised to see the once static second hand begin to shift. It was as though it was being propelled by unseen forces. But the time was far too early to be correct. He guessed it must have a weak cell battery. Baba Ade had plans to visit some of his other friends too. Since he had no wristwatch, he was lost as to what time to the day it was. Sorry, my friend, that I have not entertained you. That man has just destabilized me, Dada said, breaking the silence. Bala, Bala, he called out, but no response seemed forthcoming. That boy must have gone with his party people again. Please come over, Abike, Dada called out, facing the room, separate by a cream wooden slab. It was used in demarcating the hut. Still, it could hardly make the hut to qualify as a room and parlor apartment. It was a noon bubbling with life at Okon's store. Laborers took their turn in carrying goods into the store. The sole proprietor, Mr. Okon, was on hand supervising. Mama Abike's yams were displayed opposite the truck the laborers were offloading. This not too fat Mama Abike had a round shape. She had a broad backside, typical of an African woman. She sat beside her daughter, Abike, on a long bench. Abike had big bust, just like her mother, but was much taller. Her long black shiny hair was brushed backward. Its baseline was smooth, as it formed an arc like an hand fan. Her hair stretched down her vertebral column, then rested on her broad shoulders. Her polished brown skin gleamed under the sunlight, just like her mother's, Mama Abike. Had spent weeks in this place. The yams from her husband's last harvest were on display before her. It formed a big heap, shaped like the pyramid of Egypt. Some tubers of yam were all arranged separately. They were those of the same price range. The mother and daughter were chatting when some men approached the compound. Since the store was situated along the road, they gained easily entrance. They walked up to meet Mr. Okon at the back of the truck. One of them had a black jacket and trouser, police uniform. When they were done with him, they went to meet Mama Abike. Who gave you the permission to be selling here? One of them, having a wine suede jacket and black torn-ups, asked. Abike, who had on a brown pleated skirt and brown V-neck blouse, rose to her feet. Sensing danger, she went to stand right behind her mother. She stood hands akimbo, wearing a frown. Mama Abike, losing visibly troubled glare at the men. She looked in the direction of the truck, but Mr. Okon was no more in sight. My husband was the one who made arrangements for me to start selling here. It was when talk sent us away from the marketplace that we came here. Any problem? Mama Abike said. Where is your husband? The man queried. And what has he done that you are asking for him? Do you have any deal or business or something with him? Madam, you should not question me like that. You did not follow the right channel before you brought your tubers of yam here. We are police officers, as you can see. We have been directed to put things in order. You can't turn this place to a market without getting permission. Is this place the extension of your house, or does this road belong to your husband? The man tapped the shoulder of the cohort on both sides. Quick, let's start at once, he said, facing them. The men began to carry the yams into their waiting van. Mama Abike had just noticed the van parked along the road. Quickly go and ring your father at that business center. Tell him to come fast. Mama Abike, panting, instructed her daughter. She began pleading with the men, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. When the men had packed all the yams, they went to meet Mr. Okon. After discussing with him in his store, he quietly followed them to their van. Then they drove off. Mama Abike sat on the floor wailing. Some other traders had come to console her. They were mostly shop owners around Okon's store. Dada had just gotten to the scene on a motorcycle. He was surprised to see his wife defiling, being consoled even by her daughter. Dada was anything but subtle. He disliked washing his dirty linen in public. What is the meaning of this, woman? What will this solve? Where are they? He impatiently asked. His friend, Baba Ade, whom he came with, hastened to join them. Our yams are gone. They said I must get papers before selling any tubers of yam. They asked after you, but took tubers of yam in their absence. My people, I don't know what I've done to deserve this from Bale. He wants us to become his in-laws by force. Is it a crime to want your daughter to become a doctor? Mama Abike asked her consolers. Dada's heart dropped at that instant. This was what he disliked most. He believed in taking Gary at a 3 square meal a day. Yet, he would come out of his house making merry and bursting with laughter like someone who had taken a bowl of ice cream with shawarma. It was this self-esteem people respected him for. He walked up to meet the workers at Okon's store. Maybe someone needs to confront that man, he said as he discussed with them. Immediately he made for the road. Some other men tried to catch up with his pace. Chapter 3. My dear fathers, I'm grateful that you all have honored my invitation this day. Nobalaji folded his blue agbada the way the lower teeth closes in on the upper teeth during speech. The 4 old men with him sat on similar chairs. They formed a circle around an akpoti, a keg of palm wine, and 5 glass cups were placed on this. It was only Nobualaji's cup that had not felt that coolness of the chilled drink. Nobualaji perspired just as the white keg of palm wine did. The cane armchairs they sat on was beautifully woven. They came in resplendent mixture of colors. of chocolate, green, red, and brown. Nobalaji sat at the edge of his seat, looking nervous. It was the same way a job seeker would in an interview hall. His fingers overlapped, creating the picture of mating lizards, and his thumb formed a blockage cross-line shielding them. The faces of the men were strong as each sipped from his glass. Ọmọdé mi, ó fojú di àgbà o. That is why I have called on you, my fathers, today, my fellow ballets of upcoming. I have good news for you all, Nobalaji announced. But the expression on the faces of the men would not change. Their wrinkled faces did not brighten as he had expected. I, the dark complexion ballet, began, snapping his right hand on his chest. He appeared like someone planning to recite the national pledge, but for his sitting position. Then he continued with the seriousness of a priest reciting the credo. Nobalaju Adio Agba Akin had been confirmed by consensus vote as the standard bearer of our illustrious party, GWGM, in the forthcoming local government elections in Akpata. The men stared at him in silence. Nobalaji gazed at them, looking nonplussed. It was a solemn silence like those accompanying Good Friday's veneration of the cross. He felt highly embarrassed at the blank gazes of the older men. He had returned from the very ward he escaped to while talking. The men were all contemporaries of his late father. This made them his fathers by virtue of the Yoruba customary beliefs. But he could rebut this at the moment. He was really tensed. He had expected them to chorus congratulations, then exchange of handshakes should follow. He just could not comprehend why they had suddenly turned dumb. Soon he got a response from the distorted noise that came from outside his compound. Some hands rasped at the gate. It sounded like the sound from a town crier's gong, only that this had no rhythm. Nobalaji's visitors turned their gaze to the rusty brown gate of the royal lodge. The noise pierced his heart like a pin. The tentative expression that the ballets returned was scornful. His heart beat quicking at every slight provocation, but he was never used to such. He tried getting his panic under control. He knows that his visitors could be turned off by an outbreak of commotion, and he was just about soliciting their support upon their visit after a long while. "I'm very sorry for the little disturbance," he apologized. "Go and attend to your people," the Baale of Enyapata advised. Nobalaji excused himself and made towards the gate. His legs trembled as he rose to his feet. "Pajo, Pajo," he called out. "Hasn't this man returned yet?" he asked in a low tone. He was referring to his driver, Pajo, whom he had just sent on an errand. He signaled with his hands to draw the attention of the gatekeeper. The lad rushed to meet his boss. All along he had been busy cleaning the interior of his boss's Volkswagen car. The car is popularly known as Ijapa due to its tortoise shape. "How many hours is it taking you to wash that car? Didn't you hear that someone is at the gate? Quick, go and see who those noisemakers are," he ordered. The lad ran off towards the gate, leaving his boss to fume in anger. Noble Alhaji stared at the gate with a look of repugnance etched on his face. He still had to linger in fear for more minutes, he thought. Dada with some other men had assembled by the gates of the Baale. Baba Ade loyally stood beside his friend. Some of the workers in Okon's store made up the numbers. They joined the solidarity since their benefactor was implicated. They comported themselves when the small portion of the gate was pulled from within the compound. A young man slid through the gate to peep at the men. "It is the ballet that we have come to see." Dada in tone, speaking the mind of the disappointed men. Hope no problem. Not at all. We came in peace and hope to return in peace, Dada added. Yes, a fair complexioned man with a huge body build, affirmed emphatically. The muscles of his fat and strong legs made him seem like a dun buggy. His jean shorts revealed it all. His stern gaze at gatekeeper made him quickly return. Nobalaji insisted that the lad accompany him to meet the men outside, so that their peace will not tear me to pieces. This was the reply he gave to the inquisitive young man. Nobalaji stepped out of the gate behind the gatekeeper. So, Baba Abike, it is you who have come to steal my peace, he asked. He stared at the others to see if he could recognize them. His gaze became mean. He wished he had the strength to pounce on them and tear them into shreds, at least to punish them for the disturbance. Good afternoon, Bale, Dada greeted. The other man with him added their voices. Bale, some policemen came to my wife's store about an hour ago. She was selling tubers of yam when they showed up. They have taken all our tubers of yam away, Dada declared. So what should I do for you? How do you expect me to know everything going on? Bale, with due respect, I know you know. Yes, I know you know. What do you mean? Did I ever? Nobalaji was interrupted by murmurs from the men. He had noticed the quick change in their looks as well. Their accusing eyes threatened him never to feign ignorance. If their looks alone were sufficient to rip him apart, it would have done so. Nobalaji knew he could not allow this now. His guests were still awaiting him. Oh, I think there must have been a mix-up somewhere. Earlier this week, I sent for your son, but I don't know why they have come to disturb you. I guess someone must have gotten a wrong misinformation. It must be a mistake. I know your son is an ARP loyalist. I want to discuss things with his people. That is why I sent for him. Those men must have been hungry for them to have taken your tubers of yam. I'm really sorry about that. Before you get home, everything they took must have been returned. My noble tongue would not tell a lie. And they arrested our friend too, the fair complexioned man in shorts added. I said it was a mistake. Everything will be returned. Nobalaji replied in a harsh tone. It sounded like a rebuke to the man who had just spoken. No problem, Bale. We shall be counting on your words. We shall go in peace now, Dada finalized. Nobalaji returned immediately, feeling a bit relieved. In keeping to his promise, he instructed the gatekeeper to go to the police station immediately. He did not want to waste a single minute discussing over the phone. He was to take a bike to quicken the journey. Nobalaji took his seat, watching the men sip palm wine from their glasses. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting. There are strangers who came to demand for some information. In fact, I could hardly understand the language they spoke. We understand. That is what every one of us experience in our different kingdoms. People come day in, day out to demand for our favor or another from the Bale. Bale Amosu from Etiodo declared. It gave us time to think better. We are not surprised to hear what you just told us. We are not hard of hearing, so it is no news. Bale Aladelola from Enyapata said. He searchingly looked at the faces of his contemporaries, and they nodded in unison. Only that we believe you should have informed us earlier. That is the part we are not so comfortable with. Our people have been asking to get first-hand information from us. We could not give them any response. With our age and class, we should not be found saying things we are not sure of. He added, My fathers, I apologize for the lateness of the information. I beg for your pardon and support. I know I should have informed you earlier. I only wanted to be sure I would emerge in the primaries. I did not want to build my castle in the air, as you, my elders, would say. Àgbà jọ ọwọ́ la fi sọ̀yà. I'm sorry to borrow the words of the elders. It is not that I underrate you all, Noble remarked. It soothes my spirit when young men praise the elders. I know a lot of things have changed. Even respect for royal fathers is dying. Everyone is embracing modernization, and our culture is being preserved in the waste bin. No one seems to be talking. It is good that people like you appreciate the wisdom of the elders. Bale Alade Lola said. He is the oldest among the baales of Apata after Agbaki passed on. The late Agbaki died aged 82. This was 2 years after he lost his wife. She was transferred to the hospital when there was no sign of improvement after traditional medications. Soon, she was diagnosed to have breast cancer, but the explanation from the medical doctors about her condition made no meaning to late Agbaki. He felt the gods have to be appeased for his wife to get better. He just could not comprehend it. The same boss that drew him to his wife turned to something he could not stand. More so, she was far younger than he was. The woman gave up the ghost barely a week after her husband induced her discharge from the hospital. This spurred the authorities of Livingstone Hospital to embark on radical breast cancer awareness program. Their staff rolled out the drums, taking to the streets in large numbers, and they kept using the Bale's wife as a reference point. This made the late Bale very miserable in his last days on earth. Many believed this majorly contributed to his demise. Still, the late Agbaki was highly revered amongst his people. He stayed by his wife all through those trying times, and he stood by her even when she could not bear another child. This being for scores of years after Noble Alaji's birth, and some found it disappointing that his son did not take after him by sticking to a wife. Bale Aladelola had just clocked 18. Notwithstanding this, he was looking very agile and much younger. This seed you have planted is fast germinating. Are you asking for our support to add water to the soil? Bale Aladelola asked. Noble Alaji nodded nervously as he fondled with the two red beads around his neck. The other ballets had similar beads and a pair around their wrists. We shall definitely give you our blessings and support. Be sure of that, he added. I shall be very grateful indeed. Also, I want the best assistance I can get from you. I know your people won't turn deaf ears to you. They will support whoever their ballet supports. I am presently making plans for you, my fathers. I don't like seeing you in those rickety japa. In our present day, royal fathers must not be seen riding horses when their subjects are cruising in jeeps. Look over there, Alaji said, pointing to the Toyota Camry parked behind his own Ijapa. It is a brand new. I have not started making use of it. I want all of us to abandon our Ijapas at the same time. That is my plan. You will be receiving the delivery of yours very soon. Our people say that Ti Baba Ba Ku Baba A Ku. Noble Alaji commented in an exotic tone. The ballets exchanged glances in disbelief. You have spoken wisely once again. Agbaki must be so proud of you right now. I pray this wisdom never departs from you. Bale Aladelola prayed. The other ballets joyfully chorused, Amio, grinning. The tubers of yams were returned to Dada's house as the ballet had promised. Some young men were compelled to assist to transfer them to the barn. It was constructed at the back of the Dada's hut. Since the men had brought them home, Mama Abike stood directing them. Bala, who was Dada's first child and only son, joined the young men. He was just returning from his workplace. Dada returned to meet his wife on bent knees in front of Mr. Okon. She hurriedly rose to her feet when she caught sight of him. She knows her husband won't be happy seeing her like this in public. Dada confirmed this by giving her a reproaching look as he approached. Mr. Okon could have left for his store, but for the pleas of Mama Abike, all the while she had held on to his feet, pleading with him. He tried in vain to make her understand. He felt relieved to see his friend Dada approach. The two belong to the same society in the church. The society goes by the name Reformers Movement. He would not want to offend his friend since their church elders might come in. Welcome, Baba Abike. Thank you, sir. I heard those people took you with them. Please, don't be angry that we have caused you so much embarrassment, Dada said apologetically. No, my friend, I'm not annoyed. You see, brother, friendship with the world is enmity with God. Mind you, I did not say so. It is the Holy Bible in James 4:4 that taught us. That is how I see your quarrel with Noble Alaji. This fight with him is somehow. In fact, you need to have seen how I was treated like a tuber of yam today. The men at the station mistook me for the notorious Baba Abike they have heard much about. I was bundled into their Oga's office like a yam and bundled out. Even at a point, I almost forgot myself that I'm a family man. Mr. Okon remarked. Mama Abike had joined the men. Dada looked at her reprovingly. Mama Abike tactically avoided his eyes. She wanted to claim ignorance of the message her husband was passing across. Most times, Dada communicated with facial expressions with his wife and children. Eye contact, snapping of the fingers, claps and winks had different underlying message. Even coughing and sneezing do as well. But Dada had a bad day, so he wouldn't exert himself further. The point I'm trying to make is that Mama Abike may no longer have space to sell at my place, Mr. Okon declared. Please, sir, help us. A friend in need is a friend indeed, Mama Abike pleaded. Thank you, Mr. Okon. I do understand what is happening. Thank you. With this final statement, Dada returned to the hut. He went straight up to lie on the bed to have some rest. Mama Abike continued to beg the defiant Mr. Okon. He had explained to her that his hands were tied. As much as he would have loved to help, he couldn't. He had been warned at the police station never to allow her to sell at his place again. I just can't afford to ignore the warnings of these people who treated me like a tuber of yam, he declared. The early hours of the morning saw Dada fully awake. His eyes shone like a lead lamp in the dark. Not a single eye had beheld the face of the sky. He lay astride his back on the mattress, ruminating. He tried pushing off the thought of happenings in the previous days. He felt lazy to get up to his feet since sleep had eluded him. He had been strategizing on how to fight back Noble Alaji. He wanted to retaliate the onslaught of the ballet on his family. Even when he shut his eyes, his mind was very much awake. He recollected how he diligently served the late Agbaki, how he gave the best of his farm produce to him. He got irritated thinking about it. The old man fondly called him Omo Iyami. This Yoruba phrase means my blood brother. In those years, crude farming as opposed to mechanized farming was very lucrative in Akpata. The successful farmers were those who were hardworking and were fully dedicated to their work, unlike those who did the job on a part-time basis. Not long, the spate of erosion that occurred made their land wear an ugly look. The not too buoyant farmers like Dada could not catch up with the new trend. Productivity of farmers now depended on the number of new tools and machines they could acquire. Dada looked down at Abike, where she laid on an old mat on the floor. He lazily dropped his feet on the carpeted floor in the room. Then he gently moved out. almost tiptoeing. He tried not to wake his wife. He could not afford to disturb her. He knew she was not so happy too. He too, he took his seat on one of the chairs in their stuffy parlor. His bum had gotten used to the hardness of the wooden chair. Bala was fast asleep on his special bed, as he loved to call it. 4 wooden chairs were used in creating this. He formed an improvised mattress and pillow with old clothes. These he packed on the chairs lined up to create a platform. The shaky chair he left out was that which Dada sat on the last time he visited. The chair tilted forward and backward with ease. Mama Abike avoided the chair at all costs. She knows her weight could finally murder it. Dada bent forward and tapped his son. The old chair gave a cry of revolt as he did. It was just the warning signal Dada needed not to overstretch it. Bala yawned as he weakly forced his eyelids to part. Dada picked up the lantern on the floor, turning up the control. The hut brightened up. Dada's shadow formed the terrifying image of a dinosaur stretching from the walls to the ceiling. Bala appeared like a baby in a cot, having scattered his improvised mattress. Many of the old clothes making up his special bed were already on the ground. Dada gave his son a fatherly look. He tried picturing how the lad looked when he was just 6. It was at this age Mama Abike bore him his last child, Abike. Dada strives hard to make sure his children get the best of education. He achieved this by sending them to reputable private primary and secondary schools, but he could not afford the expense of a public tertiary university. Not to talk of the private ones that are totally finance inclined. It was the downturn of things that saw him in this tight corner. But Bala, having undergone training, secured a job being a computer literate. He sustains himself and assists his parents with his salary. Sit up, Bala. We need to discuss, Dada said. Bala brought down his legs, not minding the clothes underneath his feet. Why are you not sleeping, Bami? Because I cannot. How can I? I want to demand something from you. Bala, I believe you are very much awake. Yes, Bami. What is troubling you? You sound so worried. Yes, I am. I can't deny that. Some days back, Alhaji was telling me that he wanted to see you. I can't imagine my son sitting at the same table with that man. Dada commented. We don't belong to the same party, Bami. Bala replied. That does not matter. We are both politicians. We are the youth leader of ARP in Oriakpata. I mean the leader of anti-allergy campaign team in this kingdom. I want you to leave politics for good. I don't want to have anything to do with that man again. My son must not as well. But Bami, Bala gently protested. Dada allowed some seconds of silence to pass. He appeared to be counting his breath. This silence was a luxury that accompanied nights in dry season. When the rains poured down, their porous brown-black thick cardboard ceiling wheeled like a drunkard. If the rains were to start now, it would be dripping on Bala's head and forcefully making him get a nighttime shower. This being that he was occupying the permanent spot of the bucket reserved for the rains. Finally, Dada rose when he heard the cock crow. His heart was light now. He needed to catch some sleep. He felt the youth in Apata were crazy to think they could defeat the ruling party. He found it absurd that they thought they could beat Noble Alhaji to his game. No one can claim ignorance of GWGM's might in the state. The state legislature was dominated by this party. The opinion of her legislators easily scaled through to become law. These laws were like decrees, as there was no strong opposition at the state and national level. I have spoken, Dada said, picking up the lantern on the floor. He reduced its brightness. then dropped it beside his chair. "You can return to sleep now," he added. Dada knows how stubborn Bala can be. However, he was relieved not to be lambasted with questions this night. As Dada returned to his room, Bala laid back on his special bed. He pictured the face of his father in his mind, trying to have a replay of the discussion. He sighed in despair. He recollected the offer he got from a friend some months back. A handful of his friends were already making a living on their own. They no longer lived under the same roof with their parents. Also, he had come of age. A friend, Tade, chided him, advising him to do the same. "Leaving politics would mean abandoning my comrades, abandoning the great cause of revolution. It would mean abandoning a joint struggle. If the young generation refuse to fight, who will save our people from the cabals?" he soliloquized. Bala disappeared from home 2 days after his father instructed him to stay away from politics. He lodged at the place of Tade. They are both stakeholders in Alliance for Revolution Party. The party was one of the many preparing for the forthcoming local government elections. ARP had declared Agba Araba as his standard bearer in Akpata. He was a man in his early 30s from Eyin Akpata. He's a great motivational speaker, also a former councillor from Eyin Akpata, and the only one to have emerged from ARP. Bala and his friend were on their way to a party meeting. They had just crossed Sullivan Road when they ran into one of their friends. They knew little about him since he was a new member of ARP. The young man wore a red shirt on brown straight trousers. All Tade and Bala know about him is that he goes by the name TJ. "It has happened though," TJ exclaimed. What is it?" Tade demanded. "Agba is gone." "What do you mean by gone?" "I say Agba is dead." "What? Our own Agba?" Bala and Tade were caught aback by the suddenness of the declaration. They exchanged glances in disbelief. He was attacked in his home. The men gained access to him, lying that they were his supporters. I heard they promised him their support, but they said he must pay a price, so they took Agba's life. He said, "I don't understand. Is this how people die? I mean, a whole Agba, just like that?" he added. Bala and Tade stared at him blankly, trying to decipher what it portends for ARP. Dancing on the Sun, Chapter 4. Tension unlimited pervades the air. The scent of election moved with the hot breeze of noon. The extraordinary heat at noon added to the tense atmosphere. Colorful posters, banners, and billboards beautified the streets of Akpata. It made everywhere appear new. The election was the subject matter of discussion at offices, the marketplace too. Innocent children got infected with the election fever, courtesy of their parents. Students stuck party flyers to their school bags. Small party flags were attached to windscreens of cars. Some went ahead to have flag poles in front of their homes. Motorcyclists turned party vests to their uniforms. Handbills and flyers littered the streets after unceasing campaign rallies. Partisan Akpata residents were on hand to pick them. "It is our good luck ticket to better life," an old man remarked. Notwithstanding his being on wheelchair, he cleared the streets of his party flyers lying around. This gesture amused many. It was popularized by those who witnessed it. Though it took place at Etiodo, it later became popular in the entire Akpata. Since rumors spread faster than headline news, many turned this to a sacred belief. The demise of Agba Araba left a bitter taste in the mouths of many youths. This was an unexpected casualty. Still, they became strengthened in their fears. Agba's running mate declined, moving up as the chairmanship candidate. He declined all entreaties made to convince him. His fear made him resolute. All he accepted was remaining a running mate of whoever fills the shoes of Agba. This notwithstanding, the election momentum was not altered. The loyalists of GWGM were disconcerted by this die-hard approach of ARP. Two ideas have suddenly emerged in Akpata. The 8 political parties that declared interest for the local government elections in Akpata have streamlined with 2 left. The others simply backed out from the race. 5 were rumored to have been bought over by GWGM, while the supporters of the others voluntarily pitched their tent with ARP. Now, the coast was getting clearer. This coming on the heels of Agba's exit. The tie was between Green Movement and Alliance for Revolution Party. These two being the frontliners in the political arena of the state, one the underdog and the other the ruling party, GWGM, was largely viewed by many as a party for the older class, while ARP has youths in their large numbers. Bala has been chosen to champion her campaign in the entire Akpata. ARP's campaign revolved around her motto, "Embrace this revolution or we force it on you." The message is clear and unambiguous. Her members had gathered at Ori Akpata for a rally. The tall and elegant Abike was among. She was carrying a big brown plastic bowl on her head. The simplicity of her clothing could not quench the radiance of her beauty. She was graciously like a lady just back from the fattening room. She was conscious of herself at all times, taking the rightful posture of a lady. She had on green wrap over skirts and a yellow turtleneck blouse. Her face brightened as she admired her brother from a distance. Beauty spots formed on her cheeks, as though a ballpoint pen was pressed in. Bala was still engrossed in his speech when he caught sight of her. He excused himself, handing over the megaphone to his subordinate. He made his way through the crowd on a way line. He had on brown graph check double cuff shirt and black pinstripe flared trousers. He adjusted his regimental strip tie as the teeming party supporters sang his praises. They paved way for him. He shook hands with some of them. When he closed in on Abike and gave her a warm embrace, then he led her away from the mammoth crowd. "Hello, sis. How are you doing?" His thick, bushy eyebrows became squeezed up as he noticed the bowl on her head. Abike brushed back her shoulder-length hair shyly with her palms. "Oh, Abike, so you have started hawking," Bala exclaimed, pulling his pointed chin. Abike's high cheekbones dropped. She rested her gaze on some flower bed by the gate post across the street. She pictured the plant's chlorophyll. The green pigment found in chloroplast absorbed sunlight. Some vague objects were created in her mind as she imagined photosynthesis taking place at that moment. She wished she were the plant easily manufacturing food without stress. She could vouch that her chlorophyll would have been the most active around. Bala had noticed her gloomy look. Oh, I'm sorry, Abike. Please forgive me. I know I have wronged you all. I'm sure Bami and Mami must be highly disappointed in me. I just have to leave. We all can't continue to watch these people treat us as they like. I understand. I know. It's just that Bami doesn't. He's really bitter and has refused to be pacified. Mami is heartbroken, but she never stops saying that she admires your courage. At least she says this whenever Bami is away. I know you are fighting the cause Agba died for. Oh, you can't imagine how relieved I am right now. I thought no one understands. I have been restless thinking my entire family had disowned me. No, we could not have, Abike remarked in her usual soft tone. Thank you, Abike. Can you believe that Alhaji tried to bribe me? To do what? He said, I must stay silent about succession of a standard flag bearer. He is afraid that I might be chosen to replace Agba. And he wants us to stop saying that he masterminded Agba's murder. He says I'm the only one that can convince the others. Bala explained. And did you collect it? Of course, you should know that I won't be caught doing that now. Our campaign will never thrive on this unclean money, Bala added. He dipped his hand into his pocket to bring out his wallet. He counted some naira notes and handed them to her. Please give this to Bami. It is part of the generous donations I have been living on. I have to leave now. Please go home immediately. Bala rushed off to meet his colleagues. And will you dance to his tune? Abike shouted. Bala turned to stare at her. He shook his head in negation. She returned a satisfactory smile just before he looked away. She sat on a low stool in front of their hut. The zinc roofing sheet of the well-polished red brick hut sparkled under the sunlight. It formed a cone to cap the hut. Mama Abike was chopping the vegetables that her family would be taking for dinner. She did this on a flat wooden board on her laps. She had peeled some tubers of yam into a bowl beside her. They were cut into different sizes of circles. She was planning on preparing her husband's favorite, pounded yam with mixed vegetable. The hut served as their shop as well. This was the case since Mr. Okon had stopped her from selling at his place. Some yams were displayed in front of their hut for sale. The small compound was demarcated by some wooden pegs. No doubt, they could not help but lose many customers, but a few were still willing to come to knock on their door to get tubers of yam. This was not due to Dada's popularity. Rather, it was because he always made sure he put up the best for sale. As her daughter approached, Mama Abike rose to meet her. She assisted her in dropping the bowl on her head. Sorry, my daughter, how was your day? Hope nobody disturbed you. You must be hungry. Why not you take your bath first? Mommy, guess who I saw today? She teased her mother, dropping to her knees to greet her. Stand up, my daughter. Mama Abike carried the big bowl, dropping it beside the stool before sitting. I saw Brother Me campaigning again. When he saw me, he rushed down to meet me. Mommy, I have something for you, Abike said, putting on a mischievous smile. She unzipped the waist bag at her navel region. He said I should give this to Bami. She added, stretching out her right hand. Yay, my son has started stealing. My God, why? My son, why should this be? Where did he get this huge amount? 1,000 naira notes. No, Mommy, Abike protested, forcing the money into her mother's palm. Brother Me will never steal. He said some generous people gave him the money. You know he has many supporters and friends. He couldn't have changed. Abike said, poor Bala. Well, I trust him. I can trust him. He knows the son of whom he is. Then you must accept to give this to Bami. But what would be a big problem? But that would be a big problem. The Dada that you and I know will reject it. She paused for some seconds, looking at the new naira note. I think I know how to give him. I know. I will tell him that a big company came to order for yams some months back, and they have decided to pay their debts, she declared. It is a pity that I can't mention Bala's name. If I do, he will never accept it. He will even make sure we refund the money. Abike carried the board containing vegetables, covering the bowl containing some pieces of yams. He is my husband. I know he needs this money. Abike, go inside and rest, she said. She took the board from her daughter, placing it on her laps. Chapter 5. The seated young men were 8 in all. The meeting was impromptu. Tade personally went to fetch some of them. The parlor of Tade's father, where they converged, was big enough to contain them. The place served as Bala's new home. Bala had expected the men to be in their various places of work, since it was barely noon. He did not understand what the gathering was all about. He had taken a day off work to map out special campaign strategies, and he was just about getting started when the men arrived. He silently wished it was not his sister's disappearance they came to inform him about. His friend Tade had informed him already, but he took the news with a pinch of salt. He felt it was a ploy by his detractors. Five days had slipped by since she left home to hawk but did not return. Bala felt that those who captured her would release her when they found out that he was unperturbed. He looked at the faces of the gentlemen who were all his friends. They all belonged to the ARP. They sat around a well-polished round wooden table. Tade had noticed the impatient look on his friend's face. "It is good that we are all present today, and we know why," Tade began. He looked at the young man. He deliberately avoided the questioning gaze of Bala. These people believe they can kill the spirit of revolution, the spirit that bells the cat when no other person is ready to. We have voluntarily chosen to walk this path. No doubt, freedom comes by struggle. Be not afraid, comrades of the bloodsuckers that find the soul disgusting. Won't the soul fight back? Be not silent, friends. Be not afraid. Dare to struggle. How long will we continue to watch them pass the baton among themselves? The same set of people year in, year out. Aren't we tired of seeing their faces around? They should be ashamed of GWGM has been ruling for so long. It is as if ruling is their birthright. But are we the better for it? Should we vote for a big party or a reputable candidate? We all know how bad the road that leads to the local government houses, how they coerce and buy the trust of the oppositions. Our fathers have failed us, Tade declared. One of the young men eased. The others shook their heads pathetically. They have started again. At the last election, it was a terrible downpour that they employed in disenfranchising our people. Or didn't we all witness the terrible floods that accompanied the rain? And it was only apartheid that witnesses such. This time around, they want to kill us all. They want to turn our screams to whispers, but we shan't stop shouting foul. Yes, they lie, he bellowed, throwing his fist into the air. A new dawn may appear not forthcoming, but then if we give up, it will only make things worse. There will be no one to speak out. There will be no one to speak out. This change must start somewhere, but how? How many of us are left? Tade's voice had started breaking. His eyes had turned crimson red, and he had developed running nose. Bala stared at him, short of words. He wanted to comfort him, but could not summon the courage. He was surprised to hear him talk so much. The Tade whom he knew was fond of making short and concise declarative statements. Bala looked on, trying to catch the drift of the speech. Is the blood of Agba not enough? Now it is our No, Tade solemnly bowed his head. This was just before tear drops raced down his cheeks. They have stolen a precious one, the finest of maidens. They have done their worst. They can't do more than that. We are ready to go violent. Aluta is ripe. Naked Aluta, he said, facing Bala. What are you saying? Who did they sue? Who is the victim? Who is the pretty? Bala jumped up to his feet. He gripped his chest, afraid his heart might fall. He wished he didn't have to believe it. He knew it was Abike that Tade was fondly addressing as my pretty princess. Ah, Abike, he screamed. Come on, Bala, be strong. The youth of Akwata are all looking up for you. Pull yourself together, Tade said, hiding his own face. He forced Bala to take his seat on the couch. What is left? What else? What did she do wrong? Why her? Why Abike? They should have come for me. I didn't get my family members' consent before I accepted to be your chairmanship candidate. Is this the definition of revolution? He asked, feeling tensed. Maybe he was a dunce after all, he thought, just like a full-grown feather-brained fowl. In fact, a domestic one with strong feet, scattering his meals in the sand with its blunt claws before feeding. It must have felt it was searching the earth for seeds, worms, or ants as usual, but it thought wrong. So did Balaam. Now he was being forced to chew sand for the silly mistake, and he had forced his loved ones to chew as well. How harsh. He felt like a penguin having wings it could coon from a scary nightmare he wished he had. Who knows who is next? You. He pointed at the young men one after the other. Some shrank back, almost dodging the pointed finger. One even went ahead to exclaim, Allah forbid. He paced around the room as the young men stood at alert. They appeared to be awaiting the next order. Their lips were ready to pronounce an unreserved yes response like a soldier. I never desired to participate, but New York said I was the best man for the job. Now, I'm at the war front. I must bear the pain as your shield. You hid your heads behind me. Sorry, comrades, it's over, Bala said, leaving the room. This had been his place of shelter since he left home months back. Tade simply covered his face with both hands. Maybe he had not divulged the news in a proper manner, he contemplated. But even he hadn't disclosed the full story. He didn't tell Bala that a speedy burial was performed the day before, nor about the many suspects the police secretly released on bail. Dada is a Christian, but he couldn't bear delaying her final rest. More so, she was still too young. Hence the rush, as Muslims do. And Dada stomached it quietly, sending sympathizers away. Bala returned from the room, dressed in all black. He wanted to pack his clothes, but he was too dejected and was too weak to lift his bag. He didn't bother to glance at any of the young men. He simply headed for the streets. A group of young men and women were already waiting for him outside. He walked past them wearing a pale look. Tade and the others joined their colleagues. One of the young men raised a song and others joined in. The group became larger as they moved through the streets, chanting, Ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá lè dá, ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá lè dá, ọ̀rọ̀ ńlá lè dá, Definitely worth his cost, he thought. It hung above the terrible Alebi Oshu stretched his legs and arms, seated on the long couch, feeling at home. He is the incumbent chairman of Akpata Local Government Council. He is a man with a great taste for luxury. He has similar gadgets in every room in his duplex, which he named Ale Lodge. Even in the kitchens and toilets inclusive. He was dissatisfied that he must vacate his seat. He found consolation in the fleet of cars in his duplex. He had just dashed out Noble Alaji. He had advised him to share the cars among the ballets of Actov. He took a sip from the glass of wine placed on a seat. His eyes never left Noble Alaji. He was studying every bit of him. He wanted to be sure that this royal father would be a loyal servant when eventually he takes over from him. Honorable Alebio possessed after the election. He knew the man staring at him was instrumental to his achieving this. At least, Agba was out of the picture. He would have informed Noble Aladdin. Also, he felt he did not have any business knowing. At least it was for his own benefit